Welcome into the Cougar Cast here at the Kokomo Post Sports. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, and Happy New Year, everybody. We are here back and better than ever, and here to kick off the Cougar Cast in 2024. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, and we say it all the time, but it's been a couple weeks since we've had a show, so I want to remind everybody about this one statement about this show. This is the place to get all the information on what's going on at the IU Kokomo Athletic Department, and joining us back from Florida, a little jealous, guys, honestly, is Grant Patterson, the Sports Information Coordinator at IUK. Grant, welcome back, and also Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you too, Jay, and a little bit of a hiatus from the show, but it's awesome to be back in the swing of things.
How was that trip, man? It's I'm kind of jealous, not just because you went to Florida. You also went to Iowa with the volleyball team recently, so you're becoming a traveler around the country. How was this most recent trip?
I'm not going to lie, I didn't used to be a fan of planes, but the amount of times that I've had to fly on a plane in the past 3 months has turned me into a fan. You can be pretty much anywhere in the U.S. in a couple of hours compared to a long drive, so the trip to Florida was awesome. Not the greatest weather that you expect in South Florida at this time of year in the 70s or 80s, but anytime you get a chance to spend time with your grandparents and your whole family together in one place, that's all I can ask for. So had a great time spending Christmas and New Year, the holidays in general, watching the college football playoff with family, so it doesn't get better than that.
You know, I like making fun of Grant. Well, picking on him. Not really making fun of him, but he's talking about the weather in South Florida. Really not what you would expect. Trust me, I am a person, won't speak for anybody else. I would gladly take that weather over what we have right now in Indiana. So you can make all those comments, but bro, I want that over what we have right now.
Yeah, when we got off the plane yesterday at the Indianapolis airport, it was miserable. And I'm the guy who can get hot easily, so I always wear shorts on planes, but safe to say I made a mistake yesterday.
I think you did. 2024 is not only a big year for everybody. Every year we all make resolutions and look ahead to what's going to happen in the rest of the year and try to plan for things. IUK, you can't really look ahead too far, saying 2 or 3 months or 4 months. Resolutions start immediately because Grant, women and men's basketball had some games while we were away. They also have games this week.
Yeah, so as you said, men and women's basketball had a couple of games over the break. More so, men's played more recently. They battled IU Northwest twice. They played a home and home. They went on the road and beat IU Northwest by 20 and then came home and won by 15. I think it was 74-59. So a couple of comfortable wins just to make sure that the guys are still in the swing of things. They don't lose their rhythm too much with that time off at the holidays when they get to go home. So there's a couple good non-conference wins for them. And then the women battled two teams that play the basketball really well. Yeah. I mean, at Taylor University Invite, I know they battled Cumberland. The first team they battled is slipping my mind. It was Taylor, actually. They battled Cumberland and Taylor, so lost 2 close games against well-versed competition, teams that are normally at the cream of the crop in the NAI. And both teams are in action tonight, Tuesday night. By the time this airs, the games will have happened, but check out IUKCougars.com to see the results. Women, they have a stiff test at home tonight with the number 14 team in the nation, so Rio Grande will come and battle the men and women's team. Women will battle first, and the men's team, it's not a slouch game for them either. Rio Grande is well coached by Ryan Arrowwood, and last year they were ranked at the end of the year. They returned a lot of players from that team, and they were talented. They were fun to watch last year. I expect more of the same from that squad this year. So a couple battles to kick off the new year, 2024.
You know, the men's team, I've been looking up and looking at numbers and looking at records. Currently, women are 3-8 on the season, but men 11-2. Currently, as we record, a 3-game winning streak. Coach Eric Eckelbarger lost 2 games in a row previously, then all of a sudden bounced back 1-3 in a row. As you watch this team and get back into the swing of things, what are some things that you might expect to see from them, not just this week, Grant, but over the next few weeks as they look to keep this streak alive?
Well, to start things off, that start to conference play, that's like a gauntlet. Those first 2 games, you battle IU Southeast on the road and IU East on the road. Southeast is coming off of River State's conference postseason tournament title last year. They took us out on our home floor, so we knew that they returned a great squad led by Jacoby Hendricks, and we knew that would be a test. IU East always plays us well. Coach has been there a long time, and he's got a squad of great players along with a couple new incoming transfers. So those were 2 tough L's to take, but both were IU East more so than Southeast. Well-played games on our side of things, but you expect to come out with 2 wins there, being the well-coached, well-talented team that we are, but you knew that would be tough. So to come out 0-2 is not desirable, but it's what happened.
Yeah.
And you knew that the team was going to come out with a chip on their shoulder in that last conference game of 2023 against Midway, handled their business easily, and then, as we mentioned, take out Northwest twice. So I would expect this team to come out with a chip in their shoulder in the new year. You start 2024 with a team that's in the top 4 of the River States Conference year in and year out as of late. So it's a great opportunity to start the new year on a high note with a home win over Rio Grande before you head. Not sure where they're playing Saturday, but they'll continue conference play Saturday.
I'm only laughing.
Ohio Christian, there you go.
I'm only laughing, guys, because Grant knows I write down things on my notebook before we get on. I actually said Ohio Christian before we started, and he's looking at me like, do you know what this is?
Yeah.
Of course I do. It's
and
right here.
This is an Ohio Christian squad, new coach, and they let go a great coach this past year. He didn't let go. He moved on to bigger and better things, but this is a squad that's playing better than they have been in the last decade. So it'll be a test for both the men and women on the road in Circleville on Saturday.
So, Grant, one thing we have this week with both men and women, it's double headers.
Right.
Not only here in IUK, but also going to Ohio Christian. Off the top of your head, and this is a test of the knowledge that's in your brain, do you know when more double headers are on campus? So fans maybe that want to watch both the women and men at the same time for one ticket can enjoy that?
I'm not exactly sure when the next one is, but I know we did not have many home games in 2023 in this season, the 2023-2024 season. We did not have many home games and only one conference game. So we can expect a lot of conference. I know a lot of conference home games. I know the slate gets heavy towards the end of this month. I think we have maybe home at the end of next week, but the slate gets heavy at home, the home slate at least, at the end of January, beginning of February. And then obviously last year we hosted every game of the River States Conference tournament, so that's a chance to come out and support the squad in postseason play, and the women will be fighting to get back in the postseason tournament. So plenty of chances, and tune in next week, and I'll be sure to have those dates in mind.
My man, he's on top of it. So as we look ahead in 2024 for not just this week and future events on the basketball court at IUK, Grant, we're really close to getting some other sports started in the spring cycle. I say spring, they're also going to start in the winter calendar of right now for just the seasons in the world. What are some sports that are going to be coming up that'll be starting here? I don't know how soon, but maybe soon, maybe a few weeks or maybe a month and a half from now.
Yeah, so I'd say the soonest, the one that's starting the earliest is baseball. I mean, we start classes on Monday, January 8th, I believe that is, and I'm sure that their practice begins Monday, and they're less than a month out from the season. This past weekend, we were a month away from our first series. We'll travel to Truett McConnell. I say we because I'm traveling with the team, but the baseball team will kick off the season at Truett McConnell with the 4-game set, and then they'll battle number 6 Tennessee Wesleyan on the road with the 4-game set before heading down to USA Baseball, a beautiful complex down by Memphis, Tennessee, to play 4 non-conference matchups, including a matchup against in-state foe IU South Bend. And I know the coaching staff is currently in Dallas, just landed in Dallas for the coaches convention. So I know they're working to better themselves ahead of this new season, upcoming season. And I'm super excited to see what Drew Brantley and company can accomplish in the 2024 season.
That baseball team, I'm looking really forward to hearing from Drew Brantley hopefully prior to the start of the season in regards to what they're doing now in January leading up to February. Because last time we talked to him, Grant, he said they were doing, I think it was like a 6 or 8 week type of gauntlet, maybe. I don't know exactly what he called it, but it was like you're practicing, and I think maybe 2 days, 6 days a week, whatever it was. It was an intense type of style of practice for fall,
right,
leading up to the spring season, which starts in the winter. But I'm going to be curious to hear from him, like what the team is doing this month to prepare for the upcoming season.
Yeah, so this fall, they're at open fields pretty much every day in the fall, leading up to a certain date wherever they are not allowed to anymore. And then obviously on those days as well, they're also doing weights. So, and I know in the off season, they separate into pitchers and position players, and they're still hitting the weight room, still hitting cardio, make sure they're up to date, up to speed. They're not lacking or anything. And I think one thing that's different since I've been here, we've always played outside competition in the fall, a couple scrimmages against teams, but we didn't do that this year. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I mean, you come in, you haven't faced anybody but your own team in pretty much over a year. And so I think they're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder, eager to meet new competition, teams that they've battled in the past, like Truett McConnell, and hopefully they play well to begin the year.
So we got baseball coming up. I know indoor track and field, we hit on that before the winter break. Do you know where their next indoor meet is?
I know they're competing January 13th, so not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. Not sure where exactly it is. I want to say it's at Grand Valley State in Michigan. They've got a beautiful complex up there, the Kelly Family Sports Center. But in general, their spring season, obviously, outdoor track and field will kick off towards the end of March or early April, but those same athletes that we've been talking about on this show in the past that are breaking records already through 2 or 3 indoor track and field meets, they're still competing. I think they have 5 or 6 more indoor meets, and they'll cap that off with the River States Conference indoor meet, followed by the NAI Indoor National Championship meet in Brookings, South Dakota. So we've already got a couple qualifiers, I think 1 at least, maybe more, and I'm sure we'll see that rise as we go on. But yeah, they're competing, and then we have tennis. I mean, they're right around the corner too. February 16th, I was inputting the schedule into our website and other areas today, and I realized, wow, we're about 5 weeks from tennis competing. And as I was telling Jay before the show, there are going to be so many opportunities to come and catch the Cougars, led by Coach Christine Miller in action. I mean, last year I think they had 1 or 2 home matches in the spring, and this year they only have 2 away matches in the spring, not counting the River States Conference match. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities to catch them against conference foes, and they'll host Division I foe IU Indianapolis, formerly known as IUPUI, for a couple of non-conference matches on March 22nd.
Last but not least, and this is coming into my head, I didn't realize you were inputting schedules today. Do we have an update on when esports spring schedule starts?
We do not. I'm eager to hear from Coach Nick Leahy to hear about the new schedules, maybe some new titles, but I know we'll be competing in those 3 titles we competed in the fall and won a championship in the first semester, not even just year 1. Year 1 doesn't do it justice because it's the first 4 or 5 months of being a team, being a program under his leadership and his assistants' leadership. So I'm eager to get that schedule to see who they'll be battling, see if maybe they move up in a couple divisions like he mentioned on the show before Christmas break. So don't have the schedules yet, but trust me, IUKCougars.com is the place to be when you're looking for those schedules.
Grant, do you have any last comments about anything going on at IUK Athletics this week?
I'd say just in general, not necessarily this week, but 2023 was a great year for IU Kokomo Athletics, capped off more recently, talking about this school year. I mean, volleyball goes to the national tournament, takes the eventual national champion, Indiana Wesleyan, to 5 sets, had a 2-1 set lead. So we're right there on the doorstep of being more prominent on the national scene. And I think we turned a lot of heads, not just in volleyball, but in other sports as well. I mean, basketball, they're right there on the national scene. They knocked off the #1 team on their home floor 2 years ago. People respect us now, and I think we're starting to see that in more than just basketball. I think baseball will take another step forward this year as they're looking for an NAI national tournament bid, and I think many more great things are to come in the year ahead, and I think we'll top what we accomplished in the previous year.
I'd like to thank Grant Patterson for coming on the show once again. He is the sports information coordinator at IUK. And guys, we're back. Couple weeks off. It's the new year. The gang is back together, and I'm glad to be back here with you as well. This has been the Cougar Cast. We'll see you next time.